This is Sandy Alt reporting from the wild, and this is the audio podcast companion to my blog on Substack. This is episode 33. Girls just want to have fun. Every little girl comes into this world as a spark of wild joy. This might be true of little boys too, but I am certain of it for girls because of my personal and parental experience, and also from my pair of pretty sisters. Little girls like to dance and sing, to talk a lot and play at all sorts of things. They generally learn to speak sooner than boys and develop social skills faster. Girls, just like boys, want to be smart and strong, and they want to have fun. For a while, if they are lucky, they get to let their imaginations run wild, especially with respect to who they are and will be when they grow up. What happens next is where the paths of males and females diverge. Boys begin to glean right away that they have more agency than those without a dangling appendage. Boys learn that they have the power to act, to be influential over their own lives and environment, and to make independent choices. This is where the wild spark of joy that is every little girl gets challenged to stay sparky. Because still today, after women have fought overtly for equality for hundreds of years, there remains a substantial gap between male and female power under the law and in society. This fact pervades women's and men's personal lives, and this can be less fun than you might imagine.
And girls just want to have fun.
All girls, at every age, they want to be the wild sparks of joy they were born to be.
However, wild sparks of joy only stay bright when they are free to dazzle. All little girls have this spark. This is their superpower. Their bright, buoyant laughter, playfulness, excitement, and exuberance are contagious to everyone around them. But as girls grow, society increasingly narrows their agency to express it, and even exacts consequences for doing so. This is where angry, controlling men and the societies they shape come in.
I never thought it would turn out like this. So many consequences, so many misses, so many prices I had to pay for things that I didn't want anyway.
In our mainly man-molded society silos, girls and women who most closely epitomize established standards for physical beauty stand to gain greater power among females because of their good looks, and women who use this advantage together with other talents can certainly advance higher in the patriarchy compared to their less comely female counterparts. Beauty can sometimes be a useful asset to have in confrontations with angry men. This might even help some women to individually overcome the power paradigm, at least while they are young and sexually attractive, and especially if some of their spark of wild joy is still intact.
Because that sparkle is like a magnet for most men. They can be hypnotized by it. Many men want to bask in it, to draw energy from it, to be inspired by it. Often, they want to capture it because they might not have been allowed to nurture it in themselves, or to own it when they do not have enough of it themselves, or to limit it because it threatens them since it is not within their control, or because they lose control in its presence.
So whether or not a woman is considered beautiful by society standards, she still suffers an uneven dynamic when she has the misfortune to land in the crosshairs of angry men. Her survival, fight-or-flight reaction is to either extinguish her spark or to muster her strength in a real show of power, to stand up to a bully, to ignore the threat and the fear, and to proceed with intent. Either way, this too can be less fun than you might imagine.
And girls just want to have fun.
Now, let's lament an incident where a woman who was beautiful, as we can see in the photos shared upon her passing, dared to exert enough power to do a good deed. This threatened a swarm of small men who have been pumped up with power they haven't earned and don't deserve, and at some level likely know this, which makes them angry. But they have been shot full of a potent drug, permission to perform public cruelty.
Yes, let's lament the murder of a bright spark of joy by an ICE agent. Renee Good was sitting in the driver's seat of her car while masked armed goons surrounded her, shouted at her, filmed and photographed her, reached into her car, yanked on the door, and screamed a mix of contradictory orders.
Her dog, likely one of her favorite bright sparks of wild joy, was in the back seat.
Her wife, likely one of her most beloved sparks of wild joy, was nearby, ready to get in the car with her.
And her glove box, the nook in the dash, bursting with brightly colored plush toys rather than oil change records and napkins from fast food sacks, revealed that another spark of joy was ever present in her life.
Renee Good was sitting in her car one moment, the bright, sparkling mother of a young son whose tiny comfort toys would, in the next moment, be splattered with blood. Because Renee Good chose to de-escalate, smile, and say she wasn't mad, and then cautiously show just enough strength to take quiet, unchallenging flight. She put her car in reverse to back up slightly, then turned her wheels hard to the right so as to avoid the agents, and began to slowly drive away. Whereupon she was shot in the face 3 times by a man who afterwards called her fucking bitch. Officials from the Department of Homeland Security and the tyrannical regime who mobilized the mob of mindless meatheads defended the murderer, saying he was in fear for his life. Across the internet, women, including me, somehow simultaneously posted something similar to this. If I shot a man every time I was afraid for my life, the streets would be littered with bodies.
Afraid for my life, the streets would be littered with bodies.
If I shot a man every time I was afraid for my life, the streets would be littered with bodies.
The streets would be littered with bodies.
This worldwide written wail happened because the pretty and once pretty among us, the brave and bold among us, the outspoken and sparkiest among us have been so often in the crosshairs of angry men that we have frequently feared for our lives and somehow survived. There are countless sad songs to be sung about this incident and the cost to us all. The loss of freedom, justice, democracy, integrity, and decency, and the immense price of tyranny. But the chorus of this lament for the life of Renee Good is one for all women and all men who love women to sing. The song we women sing is that as girls, we are born bright and sparkly and free, And we just want to have fun, to love and be loved, to do things our wild, sparking imaginations urge us towards, to find out who we are and become all that we were meant to be. And the dark verse is a spark-sputtering, sobbing psalm that we learn to fear men's anger as soon as we become aware. If we are reared in the kindest and most protective surroundings, are nurtured carefully, and are not exposed to the real world much, this cognizance can have a more delayed onset than for girls who do not receive the same tender beginnings. But sooner or later, every female is initiated into the imbalance of power and permission that exists in every corner of the globe. With shared wisdom about this, most of us develop sundry avoidance maneuvers and internalize them. And this is how we survive. Make yourself small. Don't make eye contact. Cross the street. Don't go out alone. Don't. Lest you are made to suffer for showing your spark of wild joy. If we can't avoid contact with angry men trying to control us, and we don't feel safe enough to speak up and protect ourselves, we learn to de-escalate. Smile. Acquiesce. Say something non-threatening, like,
"That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you."
But this might not be enough.
Not for college girls who drank the punch at the frat party.
Not for battered wives.
Not for nurses after their shift ends, stalked by predators in the night.
Not for young girls overpowered by pedophiles.
Not for the woman who mistakenly married a man before he revealed his worst side.
Nor for young daughters of a rage-filled father.
Nor for those girls who, while they are out minding their own business, become the target of a random encounter with a menacing male. Or worse, a pack of them.
It was not enough for Renee Good, who, after a smiling attempt to de-escalate, took time and care to turn the wheels, and then slowly started to drive away from the shouting, from the mix of conflicting orders, from the swearing and the armored arms thrusting into her personal space, from the pulling on her car door, from the filming, from the power poser posturing. After saying,
"It's all right, dude. I'm not mad at you."
It's all right, dude. I'm not mad at you.
It's all right, dude. I'm not mad at you.
It's all right, dude. I'm not mad at you.
And attempting to inch away, she was shot dead for not finding, if one existed, whatever deflation maneuver that might have tamped down the teeming testosterone and made her appear less of a challenge to the insecure, pumped full of God self-illusion goons who assaulted and killed her in her car. While girls just want to have fun, women everywhere are innately capable of imagining what a man driven with rage and false sense of self-importance might do in a direct confrontation.
And now we don't have to imagine it.
This nightmare played out in broad daylight in Minneapolis, while literally dozens of people recorded it with their phones. Now, we don't need to guess what might be the worst thing that could happen because we saw it through the phone cameras of bystanders from a variety of vantage points and even via the lens of the killer's phone, except for when it swung away as he grabbed his gun with the other hand and shot Renee Good in the face.
3 times.
People I know have reported in the days that followed overhearing a neighbor mutter,
"She deserved it."
or that an acquaintance said,
"She shouldn't have been there. If she wasn't there, her kids would have their mother."
Some of us saw posts on social media exonerating the killer, repeating the lies of the tyrants at the top. repeating the lies that take away our freedom, our humanity, our decency, our spark. Lies that cost a life. When the puppy-shooting pseudo-human boss of the brown shirts called Renee Good a terrorist, that Botox-bloated bag of cruelty relinquished membership in the human race. There is no room for a deadly spore filled with spite and devoid of humanity in the highly evolved two-legged species. Not for her, nor her evil masters at the top of this tyranny regime. Back to my soulful song.
Girls just want to have fun.
All girls.
At all ages.
And they want to be strong and wise and free.
They often spend much of their spark caring for others, their children, their elders, their neighbors.
For many of us, good deeds are one way to keep our wild spark of joy and that of others alive.
Women are also capable of bravery. Renee Good was being brave and being good when she was murdered.
Now, whatever wild spark of joy once shone in the life of Renee Nicole Good, where it could have gone and how it could have grown, will always remain a mystery that we must live with for the rest of our lives. Let's consider the lyrics of the final verse and chorus of the song, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, written by Robert Hazard and recorded by Cyndi Lauper. I've been singing this song in my head ever since I started this project, so I might as well sing it now. Some boys take a beautiful girl and hide her away from the rest of the world. I wanna be the one to walk in the sun. Oh, girls, they wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have fun. That's all we really want. That and safety, justice, equality, and the freedom to be the bright sparks of wild joy we were all meant to be. Is that too much to ask? This has been Sandy Alt reporting from the wild. Every week or so, I publish a written essay, and then a few days after, I produce an audio podcast version like this one. I really love doing these podcasts because I get to wear a lot of hats. Writer, storyteller, producer, musician, and composer. I'm always delighted to include my own original music as well as voices from the community. The voices joining mine in celebration of the spark of wild joy that was Renee Good come from some of the strongest and best women I know. Channie Peters, Jenna Preston, Stephanie Courington, and our own Purple Leather Lady. I thank them for lending their spark to this show. I also want to thank my team members, Theresa Daus-Weber and Eric Brody, for their astute editing of the script, and Brian Reid for the wonderful album cover art for this podcast. You can read and subscribe to the companion piece to this podcast at sandyalt.substack.com. If you navigate there, you can see notes citing the sources for this script and for the companion essay publication. You'll also see a photo of our 9-month-old wolf cub companion, Zuni, experiencing his first snow. And if you want more stories from the wild, look for my Wild Mystery series in book, audiobook, and ebook. You can start with any book in the series and go wild.